The streets are buzzing. Welcome, everyone. Happy Friday night. CT joined by Bill D, the legend, here to talk about the Knicks off-season, the latest going on in the league. And a shout out the chat. Salute to Replay Gang. Thanks for joining, everyone. Going to be a fun show. No topic out of bounds, as always. Can't wait to get Bill's thoughts on a lot happening. But first and foremost, Bill, great to see you. How are you feeling?
CT, it's always good to see you, my friend. Always good to spend some quality time with you, chatting about our common passion, I guess we could call it.
Yeah, we've got a lot of common passions: golf, photography. But
Yes.
for me, the Knicks. The Knicks are the number one love, the passion. And man, is the fan base passionate? What is your overall thoughts on just the passion of the Knicks fan base?
Well, I think they got a taste, another taste, and when they get that taste, they just ratchet up just a little bit more, and their fandom, their passion is rightly placed, but I'm a little concerned about where their team is going, what they're trying to do, what they're trying to accomplish in this off season. I'm a little concerned about that.
Okay, yep. We talked about some ideas off air before we came on, throwing some things around. But as always, can't wait to get your thoughts on how the playoffs ended, where to from here, and get your thoughts. Last time we had you on, it was 1-1, I think, in the
Yeah.
Cleveland series, right? We were
Wow.
talking about we needed some shooting. We talk about should Evan Fournier get some minutes? How would the Knicks do at MSG? Since then to now, take it away.
Well, I mean, obviously they beat Cleveland as they rightly should have, and I think the motivation was proper. They wanted to put this guy on our team. They wanted to break up this team for this guy, and they went out and they smashed Donovan Mitchell and the Cavaliers, a team that had some warts exposed. And Mitchell Robinson pretty much had his way with the two Cleveland big men, and that did not transfer to the next series against Miami. And it's unfortunate because when Miami beat Milwaukee, boy, that just changed the whole paradigm. That just everything changed with that. And now all of a sudden you're looking at a Knick team that like legitimately has a chance to go to the Eastern Conference Finals. But Miami, they weren't suited for Miami. Not at all. Miami threw all kinds of exotic zones at them. They weren't ready for that. They trapped, they double teamed at every opportunity when it was either Brunson or Randle. The Knicks didn't have any answer for that. Mitchell Robinson was no longer dominant on the interior because Bam Adebayo was always out at the elbow. And Bam could move so much better than Mitchell Robinson, and they just took full advantage of that situation. And Hartenstein wasn't, I mean, he was a backup and he played like one. So, there were just a number of things that did not fit for the Knicks. And one of the biggest contrasts, and you saw it with Miami, everybody, whenever the opportunity presented itself, they were knocking down threes. Knicks, no, not so much. Knicks aren't that kind of team. Knicks aren't built for that. And so now we look in the off season, and everybody is back on this trip again about we got to get that knockdown shooter. We got to get that shooter. That we got to get that three. That guy that shoots the three. I'm not sure that that's the solution to the problem. I'm not sure that that's your priority. One of the things Miami did extremely well, and they can't do it to Denver because Denver just has so much size, and they did, and Boston wasn't that kind of team, but they defend pick and roll to the max. Knicks had no pick and roll attack. None whatsoever. You think about Mitchell Robinson, he was pretty much just a statue down there. And okay, when Hartenstein was in, they moved the ball from the high post and some cutters and that kind of stuff. But the Knicks did nothing on the interior against Miami. And one of the things that I like to see them do, because it complements both Brunson and Quickly, is find a big man they can play pick and roll with. And when that happens, that kind of opens up the perimeter for some things to happen, some uncontested threes. Not that the Knicks were making them in any great volume, but at least it gives you the opportunity to function in that environment because
Yeah.
teams have to respect you when you get in that pick and roll action. Teams have to respect what you do when you get the ball in the painted area. Where was Jalen Brunson unstoppable? In Brunsonville, when he got in that area between the free throw line and the top of the restricted area arc, you couldn't do a daggone thing with him. Nobody could.
Mm.
And this is something I think the Knicks need to complement. They need to find complementary players for both he and Quickly, who I got a feeling is going to be going via trade if the Knicks get this shooter that they so badly need. I threw a trade out there a couple of weeks ago, and dollar wise, the trade fits. Dollar wise, the trade fits. And the trade that I was suggesting the Knicks make with Phoenix, but I don't think this trade is going to happen because somebody else in the Western Conference has their eye on Phoenix's center. I thought DeAndre Ayton would work well here because
Mm.
he is a good pick and roll player. On offense, that's what he does. And what was Phoenix doing to him in the playoffs? Just waving him off. No, go get out of here. It was about hero ball for Kevin Durant and Devin Booker. And they wanted, as soon as Chris Paul went down, Aiton had no value to them offensively. And that was part of why they unraveled pretty much as they did because their two superstars wanted to play hero ball instead of getting into efficient pick and roll offense, something that DeAndre Ayton excels at. He's also a good defender. He's not a great defender. He's a good defender. He's every bit as good as Mitchell Robinson. Not saying he's going to block the same volume of shots, but he's still going to create problems for the team for teams on the interior. And
Mm.
he moves better. He's better around the perimeter. Look, Mitchell
Yeah.
Robinson to me, he doesn't have good hands. He doesn't have good feet. He doesn't move well. He does not move well for a big man. And that's not a knock. What he does well. But I think the Knicks need to expand beyond that. So here was the trade that I was talking about. I was talking about Aiton and Landry Shamet, but they're hell bent on keeping Josh Hart. Okay. So that's another reason it's not going to happen. But I wanted those two players in exchange for Julius Randle and Mitchell Robinson. Oh, Phoenix would never go for that. Well, think about this.
Mm.
When was Julius Randle at his absolute worst? When he's being double teamed. He would turn the ball over. He would make stupid passes. He'd become bonehead when he was double teamed. With the two players that I mentioned before playing hero ball in Phoenix, I don't think there's a chance in hell that Julius Randle will
Yeah. You
ever
said
would ever
that.
see a double team there. He would never see a double team there. And Mitchell Robinson has value for them because he is, again, a good rim protector and a good rebounder. One of the best offensive rebounders in the game. That's possessions. So the money is almost a perfect match. I think Phoenix would have to come up with an additional $4 million in salary to make this thing even. Shamit, by the way, is signed for 2 more years, total of 22 million. Josh Hart's going to get more than that in one season. And the Knicks, and to me, Shamit and Hart, they're pretty much the
Mm.
same guy. Hart does rebound though. Hart is a tenacious rebounder. Again, possessions, but this is the kind of thing that I'm hearing my good friend Stephen A. Smith, who's in one of those pictures right there over my right shoulder. He came right out of the box talking about Nick should get
Oh
Dame Lillard. Wait a minute. How does that
no.
complement Brunson? How does that work with Brunson? I hear the other. Well, they're going to monitor the situation in Philadelphia now that Nick Nurse is the head coach. Is Embiid going to want out if they get rid of Harden, I don't know. And I'm not for 1 second saying no to Embiid, but I don't think Daryl Morey, if he were to trade Joel Embiid, is going to trade him to somebody in his division. I just don't see that happening. I really don't. So again, another rumor that I saw, which makes some sense, is Nurkic coming to the Knicks. Big man, he can play some pick and roll. I can't speak for his defense or his rebounding, but offensively, he's the kind of player that would complement what the Knicks have. Now, what they would have to give up to get him, I don't know. I'm totally clueless with that, but we've all
Yep.
heard the quickly to Portland rumors
Yep.
that came up just before the trade deadline. So would that be what they want to do? I really don't want to see the Knicks get rid of quickly. I don't. I don't,
No.
especially since I don't think they're picking up Derrick Rose's $15 million option.
No. No.
Do you?
That that thing is a sure thing. Take that to the bank. But man,
I mean, with Thibs, you never know. Thibodeau might,
yeah.
but again, and we talked about this many times last year. Knicks were playing with three dead spots in their roster, basically, and Rose is one of the three dead spots. The other Fournier,
Yep.
okay, and down the stretch, even though he was later compromised by injury, Jericho Sims wasn't playing. And the Knicks, to me, they weren't good enough to have three dead spots on their roster and have any kind of long term success.
Yeah. I like the premise of why the reason you want a guy like Aiton. That's something I've been saying to you as well, I think, but I need to say this more. The Knicks needed an inside presence and outside presence. We look at the two teams in the finals, right? They got Jokic and Murray inside and out. They can play, they can kick it to the shooters. Bam Adebayo and Jimmy from Miami. They have that inside presence as well. Now, I'm not giving up on Mitch in terms of, becoming a player who, can develop maybe a small hook shot or so, they could use him more. I'll put it that way. I think Tibbs could definitely be more creative. But a
Mm-hmm.
guy like Aiton, big shoulders, back to the basket, can stretch the floor as well. That's just an idea we're throwing out as well. I like it.
And he
We
has championship experience also. I mean, we
okay.
all remember
Yep.
that career-changing dunk from Giannis
Oh,
in the finals a
yeah.
couple of years
Oh,
ago.
yeah.
But and both Aiton and Randle, I don't think Randle realizes it yet, but those are both two guys who could use a change of scene. And now there's a whole new regime coming in with Frank Vogel in Phoenix. I don't know if Vogel would want to part ways because Vogel's thing is all about defense. So.
That's right. Yeah. And I want to get your thoughts overall on Tibbs and could he have used the roster better? We talked about the Fournier situation. To me, Bill, game 6 was quite frustrating. Um, the way he decided to, change some of the things he hasn't normally done. Double Jimmy Butler randomly late. Um, did not use any of the shooting that he needed for that stretch where he had a bad lineup in that second quarter, no offense and nobody could really handle the ball. Would you have liked to see him play Jalen Brunson 48 minutes in that elimination game? What did you see from that last game?
Well, when we go back to game 6, two things happened in the first quarter. Both Brunson and RJ Barrett got into foul trouble. Both
Yeah.
had two fouls in the first quarter. And the Barrett second foul was particularly devastating because I don't care what RJ wasn't doing from the field. The guy was 7 for 8 from the free throw line in the first quarter, and the Knicks had built a 17-point lead or 14
Oh,
point lead
16.
when they had to take him out of the game because of the foul trouble. And from that point on, Miami led that game and won that game. That's what was the real, to me, undoing of the New York
Yeah.
Knicks. Now, Tom Thibodeau, look, we've all taken our shots at him. I think he did a wonderful job with what he had to work with and what he imposed upon himself to work with. He's a system guy. He's going with these 9 guys, and the best combination he can find, that's what closes the game for him night in, night out. Now, he might have a group of guys he wants to have out there on the floor, but I'll give him credit enough that he has enough flexibility that, you know what, this is working. I'm going to stay with this. I think he went about as far as he could go with this team. I mean, Evan Fournier, for all that he does with his 3-point shooting, uh, he's going to give back whatever he gets. And you get Quentin Grimes, poor kid. He got in the bright lights, and offensively, he was just lost.
Yep.
He couldn't throw it in the ocean from a rowboat.
Learning lesson.
Okay, yeah. And again, it was his first rodeo. It's his second year in the league, so
That's a good
he's not
point.
going to step right in and just save the day. He gave you
Yep.
some good performances against Cleveland, but that Miami series is kind of like a master class because that took it to a whole different level. Don't be tricked by the play in and the 8th seed and all that. They are, well, you see who's playing tomorrow. You see, there's only 2 teams left, and Miami is one of them.
Yeah, the versatility. I think the Bill overall the roster lacks balance. I think we're a little bit skewed to defensively, and I'll get your thoughts on the Josh Hart, the price tag that we're looking to pay him. Jalen Brunson didn't want to pass him the ball, or did not pass him the ball late. I can't speak for the guy, but it was clear he had the open look, and he didn't feed him the rock. But
Oh,
um,
go ahead, go ahead,
yeah,
go ahead.
no, jump in.
No, I'm just looking at the comment section, best of worst, and he
Yep.
says I wouldn't go for Aiton because he would cost too much. How much he's going to cost as much as Randle? He and Randle are a basic salary wash. Both of these guys, they go up over the next 3 years. That's another consideration when you look at Aiton. Phoenix is going to have $250 million players next year.
I think he'd be had for cheap. And compared to, is there anyone else outside of what's been rumored that you think is a good fit, Bill? Like it's a difficult situation right now, unless you're hitting that Joel Embiid home run. Which, what do you think? Do you think he's available? Do you think he gets out of Philly?
First of all, if for you to get Joel Embiid, what you would have to give up to get Joel Embiid, you'd have a totally different team.
Preach.
And here's the thing, let's look at what Phoenix did to get Kevin Durant. Okay, you had Durant and Booker and Chris Paul, as he always does. He gets injured in the playoffs and he doesn't cross the finish line. But when you make that deal for Durant,
Yep.
you don't have a bench anymore. What was Phoenix's problem throughout the postseason? They had no
No
bench.
bench.
Now you want to do that to the Knicks to get Joel Embiid to get a superstar? The Knicks have a a good core. They have a player
Mm,
in Brunson that they can build around. Can you find some
absolutely.
players to complement what Brunson does? That's the key, not a star. I mean, if there's a star that'll compliment him, fine.
Yep.
But I don't think that star's name is Lillard. I don't think that star is Embiid at what it will cost you because you will basically have Brunson and Embiid when you go to battle every night. You're not going to have much more.
How, how do you win in the playoffs without stars, though? How do you see that playing out?
Well, you know, look at what Miami is doing. They got one guy that you would qualify as a star. And
Hmm.
as quiet as it's kept, Jimmy Butler ain't been no
Oh,
difference maker in these
I hate
playoffs
Miami.
since this first round.
Yep.
He really hasn't. He hasn't taken any game and said, "This is mine. I'm going to win this." So you talk about how do you win without stars? I'm so sick of hearing it. It's the truth. But Miami has 6 undrafted players in their rotation,
I tell you
and
who's
they're
their
playing for the
star.
NBA championship.
Their star is Eric Spolstra on the sideline. Is he their star?
Nope,
Second star?
he's not the star. Let's be crystal clear about this,
Oh, I know where you're going with this.
because I was ranting about this on Twitter this
Yep.
week.
Have at it.
In 1995, the New York Knicks had Pat Riley. Had him. He was theirs.
Mm,
Pat makes a bit of a power play, says, I want a piece of the team. The Knicks said, no, no piece for
piece of the
you.
pie.
Riley says, okay, see you guys around. Since 1995, you want to count how many times Miami has been in the Eastern Conference Finals?
I care
Never
to forget.
mind the NBA Finals. Never mind the three championships they've won. And what was the big deal when LeBron was a free agent? Here comes old man Donnie Walsh in his walker, and here's Pat Riley throwing rings out on the table for the Miami Heat. Who are you going to play for? The guy has transformed modern basketball. Why do I say that? This is a great stat that I saw posted by ESPN.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do this a little different way. I believe this is the 76th NBA final. It's either 76, 77, give or take one or two. 76 NBA finals. Pat Riley has participated in 24% of those 76 NBA finals. You think about that. And the Knicks had that guy. They had him. And what does his body of work look like since he said, bye, Knicks, I'm going where I can get a piece? Mickey Harrison gave him a piece in Miami. And what has he done? What has he done? Take this year away. What has he done?
He's definitely put the structure in. Elite talent evaluator. But yeah, he ratted on us, you know.
And meanwhile, let's see. Knick fans have a couple of second round appearances, one per decade to really celebrate. And we're talking this nonsense about, well, what star can we get now? And a guy with 6 undrafted players and 1 star who has had maybe 1 take control of the game performances in this playoff season, and they're playing for the NBA championship. They're overmatched. They ain't got a shot. They're not beating Denver.
Yeah.
But they're right there. Let
They're
Denver
close.
get an injury. Let Denver have a bad pass. All of a sudden, they win 2 games. Now it's a series.
Yeah, I can't disagree. I mean, Riley, if I was owning the team, I would have said no myself, but he is that star, and he had the Knicks there in the mid 90s, and we didn't really have. We had Patrick Ewing, and he was getting the most out of that situation. We did not have any offense, but what he's doing now just makes me sick still. Lures in the LeBrons, the Shaqs, but the Knicks are building more structure now. Bill, we had Scott Perry. What are your thoughts on the Perry tenure, who is now his contract's lapsed and moving ahead now? How do you feel about Leon Rose and what he's done this season?
Well, Leon Rose is the guy that's calling the shots. You know, Scott Perry was a lieutenant, so to speak. And that's not to disparage or or besmirch Scott, because he's a solid NBA executive. He's been doing this for a long time. But Leon Rose is the guy that's making the calls.
Yeah,
You know, with World Wide West in his ear. So
absolutely.
I mean, how big of a loss is Scott Perry? I don't think it's a very big one. I think he'll land on his feet and go and help some other NBA team. But
Yeah,
what was he? What else was he going to do here with the New York Knicks? He was kind of like the third wheel, basically.
yeah. Fourth, even with Gerson Rosas, who got
You know,
brought in
Right.
no doubt, yeah, Wes is advising, but yeah, Leon's brought a lot of strategic people around him. Brock Aller, Frank Zanon, Walt Perrin, um, smart guys that know the basketball world, experienced, and he's listening to them all.
Hmm.
But fear for me personally, Bill, is the input Tom Thibodeau has. I don't know how much, but the Josh Hart acquisition, Cam Reddish situation throughout the year. Um, what are your thoughts towards Tibbs's input in player personnel, and how in sync with Leon Rose do you think he is?
I think they're in sync. I think they're in sync.
Yep.
Look, Tibbs is, if you want to use the Bill Parcells example, if I got to prepare the meal, let me, pick some of the groceries. Let me
Yep.
shop for the food. And Tibbs on a lower level, a more understated level, is in that same kind of position. Now,
Yep.
I hope that they don't go out and get Carl Anthony Towns
Oh,
because that combination has already failed.
well, Levine. What are your thoughts?
Does he complement Jalen Brunson? I mean, I'm not ruling out Levine. Zach
Another
Levine could
gunner.
be he could be on a short list,
Mm.
but again, he's bringing one dimension.
Yep.
Is that one dimension what's going to get the Knicks over the top? I'm not sure. I'm not sure if a guy coming in and scoring 35, 40 points once or twice a week is gonna be the difference maker for you, because those guys in the playoffs, they don't disappear, but their numbers shrink. And then that's when they got to figure out other stuff to do. That was one of my frustrations with Julius Randle in this postseason. Okay, especially in the Miami
One.
series. Well, again, I'm trying to boil this down and keep this as simple as possible.
Yep.
Okay, and I'll use Jason Tatum as an example. Now here it is, Game 7, first possession of the game. Jason Tatum rolls that ankle,
Oof.
and all of a sudden Boston is shot out of the sky. But Jason Tatum stayed on the floor and did other things to help his team win, or at least
Exactly.
try to help his team win.
Two-way.
What did Julius Randle? Oh, they're double teaming me. Well, let me turn the ball over. They're double teaming me. Let me try and beat the double all by myself. Let me play hero ball. Oh, I hurt my ankle. If you hurt your ankle, then get your behind down there in the post. Get some rebounds. Do the little things just to help your team win, dude. You're not gonna shake guys on the wing. You're not gonna break guys down off the dribble. That's not happening tonight. Not with your ankle being bad and you being double and triple teamed all over the place. And that's my problem with Julius Randle. Uh,
Mm.
Look, he's a gifted player. He is
No
a
doubt.
gifted player, but he's not a player that you're going to win with because he is not flexible enough. He does one thing. He plays at one speed, and when he's not playing well, I can't tell you how enraging it was to watch him coast up the floor, Cadillac up the floor, and then turn the ball over.
Cadillac.
Dude, that ain't what I need here. We're playing with tempo. We're playing with pace. Get up the floor, man. Make some things happen. Draw some
Yeah.
people to you so other people are open. So there's a trailer or something. He just annoyed me. He's a guy, really. He needs a change of pace, but he doesn't realize that he needs a change of scenery. That's just my
Yeah.
opinion. And
No,
I you know
you could.
I'm not casting any aspersions on what kind of guy he is and all that. Here's what I know: he does not make his teammates better. Period. Jalen
Yep.
Brunson, though.
Facts.
Jalen Brunson does. And for all these people who want to get rid of R.J. Barrett, I'll tell you what: put Barrett's playoff numbers next to Julius Randle's playoff numbers and tell me who's the better player.
Yeah. Randall's gifted. He could do so many good things, but he's rigid. I don't think he was coached as well as he should have been. He's miscast, basically. His usage is too high. I think what team in the league that's trying to win an NBA championship has Julius Randle as a top 2 option? Third option, fourth option. I mean, look at Denver. They got Michael Porter Jr. and Aaron Gordon as the
Aaron,
third and fourth
Aaron
option.
Gordon took over the game in the first quarter last night. It was like, whoa. The big guy didn't even touch the ball. He didn't take a shot until
He's like,
he took the last shot of the first quarter. That was all that Jokic did last night.
Yeah, he's like, I'm taking over. And I know, the ankle situation, I give Julius the benefit of that doubt. I just think you can still win with him, but he needs to be in his ideal role. And that's not, his usage is too high. He slows it down. Get him downhill, get him making quick decisions, avoiding these step back contested shots, move the ball a lot. Julius could be a very willing facilitator. He could average 10 assists, Bill, if he wanted to.
Yeah.
But he loves scoring the ball.
Yeah, and he loves passing the ball while he's in the air.
That too.
That's his particular favorite affinity right there. Oh, let me make a jump pass. I love to make jump passes. Stop it. It's not going to win. It's not going to win for you.
But ideally, do you think he gets moved in a... I know you proposed him in that Ayton package. That's something that you would like to see. But what do you think is most likely? Do you think...
that he's back next year?
Yeah.
He's back next year. I mean, again, who are the people that are going to come up? What names are going to come up at trade rumor time? Well, let's see.
The usuals.
You got Grimes in there. You get Quickly in there. Quickly has probably moved to the front of the list. Either he or R.J. Barrett will be the most talked about, the most tradable player on the Knicks roster. And I think trading either or both of them would be a huge mistake.
Maybe Mitch too.
Mitchell Robinson. I'm the thing that makes Mitch attractive to the Knicks is his salary actually goes down now. You know, he got the big number this year. I think he was like 17 this year, and it just goes down over the next couple of 3 years. But look, for the Knicks to remain intact, R.J. Barrett has to work on his three-point shot, and he's got to work on his defense.
Yep.
He had 4 fouls in Game 6 against Miami. None of them were good fouls. None of them.
Yep. It was a tough Game 6.
Yeah, you know, and I mean, he got off to that great start, man. But then when he commits that second foul, it was a stupid foul. What? What are you doing? You have 4 fouls, like I said, and none of them were good. You know, there are good fouls that you can commit in the game. You can commit a foul with a good contest. You can get called in a questionable situation and get hit with a foul. Julius, I'd rather RJ just had 4 bad fouls, 4 unnecessary fouls, and it cost him. It cost his team. And again, he got out of the gate. He was struggling from the field, but here's what I like about R.J. Barrett. I like about R.J. Barrett what I like about Julius Randle, what I like about Jalen Brunson. They all excel at bully ball. You don't stop any one of those 3 guys can get to the basket pretty much at will.
Yeah. You need the floor spread. And that's where, for me, Bill, balance of the roster, I love Mitch and everything he does, and I would still keep him. But if I can bring in a 5-man that provides some floor spacing, that's why I'm not against that Ayton move. And I know you're not for the Cat move, and I'm really not that excited by it. But
nope.
I do got to acknowledge he was injured this season and missed 50 games. So
there's that, and there's that propensity to be that perimeter player.
Yeah.
The last thing I need is a damn 7-footer who's playing like a guard because he won the 3-point championship. You know, another player that we're hearing about,
KP.
Yeah, and I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I mean, you know, he this past season, I think it was interesting that Porzingis came out and said, you know what, leaving the Knicks was a mistake. He gets it now. He understands some things now.
Yeah.
But I didn't watch Washington enough this year to see that his game
Great
changed
numbers.
that much. Yeah, great numbers, but he's still playing like a guard. And that's not what I need out of my 7 foot center. I mean, that you have that ability to step
Yeah.
out and knock down an occasional three, that's great. Okay, but I don't need you out there handling the ball. I don't need you out there thinking you're going to drive to the basket. And that's what we used to see with Kristaps Porzingis here in New York. And that kind of play don't work for a big man in the NBA because you get injured. You get injured. Give me that slowed down, toned down Jokic game. Jokic moves
Yeah.
like a slug. He's so slow, but he plays at his pace. He plays at his speed, and he makes everybody on that team better. That pass that he made to Jeff Green,
Oh,
are you kidding me? Traffic all around, and he threads that needle and puts it right there so Green has an easy
gifted.
reverse layup.
Makes everyone better. Yeah.
That's all.
That's
I need complementary players.
yeah.
I got a star. I got a star. I got a budding star. I need somebody who's going to fit in with them and make them better.
So
Porzingis could be that guy. He could be that guy. They talk about him and Kyle Kuzma in a possible trade. Again, you have to give up some stuff to get those two. Gonna have to give up some stuff to get those two. You really are. How much are you gonna have left? But I guess if you got Brunson, KP, and Kuzma, you win a championship.
Here's what I like also about the fact that he plays two sides of the floor. Again, he can block shots, can give us offense. But I like a player who can create a shot too. Ball handling was something we missed, Bill. That second quarter, Deuce McBride, I like Deuce. He's going to continue developing. He's actually down under right now, having a holiday. But Deuce is going to come back, and they're going to pick up that option. But we needed another ball handler, another guy who can create a shot. And there's talk about some other guards, Dante DiVincenzo for the
Saw
mid-level.
that name today, yeah. Saw Dante's name.
Who else did you like?
You know what? One thing I do like about DiVincenzo is that he's got some championship pedigree.
Yeah,
he's got
absolutely facts.
With the Bucks,
you need it,
and with Golden State, even though they didn't get to where they wanted to go, but if you're in that family, in that company, some of that's going to rub off on you even more.
And one thing that did frustrate me in that Heat game was letting Brunson bring the ball up every single time while he was in a straitjacket from Gabe Vince. No one else could bring the ball up, right? Should RJ Barrett get some more looks on the ball?
Well, I kind of see Quickly being your backup point guard. He can handle. Sometimes he dribbles too damn much.
We missed him. I'm telling you, we missed IQ.
That was big. That was big when he goes down with that ankle and he's in a walking boot and he's watching on the bench while the Knicks are down to one guy. And another thing that we were mindful of, if something had happened to Mitchell Robinson, Knicks wouldn't have had any big men. They had nobody. Sims was gone. He was shut down with shoulder surgery. If something happens to him, you're looking at Obi Toppin playing center. Ooh.
Whiteheart?
I don't think you'll win a lot of games in this league with a 6'5", 6'6" center. I don't care how much he rebounds.
No, Isaiah Hartenstein.
Hartenstein, yeah. I-Man is okay. He's okay, but he's an NBA backup center. He comes in, he gives you a change of pace. He takes care of the ball. He scraps, but he's nobody that anybody's got a plan for.
Yeah. Well, you know what the Knicks have been good at? They've been hitting on these role players, these late picks. We might be able to trade Obi Toppin, potentially get into this late first round. Indiana have 2 picks. they liked a name. I'll give you Chris Duarte, who,
Okay.
from the Dominican Republic,
Mm-hmm.
wanted to be in New York. The Knicks were interested in drafting him. He's a shooter, a guard off the bench.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, he's another option. What should they do with Obi, Bill? Because you said it. You said they're not moving off of Randle, right? So do they need to get off of Obi this off season?
I think that could conceivably happen because next year he's up for a contract.
Yep.
After this coming
This
season, he's up for a contract. He
money
and Quickly, and
talks.
and everybody's talking about giving Quickly the money now. I wouldn't do it so
Oh,
fast. I wouldn't do that so fast. He's a nice fit. It's 6 million. He and Obi, they're right about. I think they're both right around the 6 million mark this year. And I say let them both
yep.
play out those contracts and see what happens. But
Mm,
Obi is here's what's disappointing about Obi. We talk about Quickly and the improvement, the noticeable improvement he's made. Obi has made a lot of improvement as a perimeter shooter, but his body has not changed one smidge since he got out of Dayton. Same body. He's not an NBA power forward. You
yep.
look at him go against LeBron. You look at him go against Jaren Jackson Jr. Those guys could like snap him like a
Not there
twig.
yet.
I keep going back to this. Obi
The
Toppin is
free.
a three in the NBA. He's a three in the NBA.
You, you know,
And he
so
plays like a three.
yeah, so many people are quick to dismiss that. You've been saying that since day dot, and I've said it. Let's see that a lot too. Or play at the small ball five where you stretch the floor for five
Yep.
to 10 minutes.
Yep.
That's roster versatility. But Tibbs sees something in a player and he falls in love, and at the same time he doesn't see something and he falls out of love.
Quick hook.
Um, quick hook. It's like those Bulls teams, right? They got so close, but what did they have? They had a Luol Deng, Taj Gibson, Joakim Noah played rugged defense, but couldn't put. I'm done seeing another 95 Knicks team. You know,
and
I want
and
I want to
all
see
three of those guys,
2023.
all three of those guys got old at the same time too. All three of those guys, outstanding
Yeah,
defenders, and they all got old at the same time. And
yeah,
Taj Gibson, the only one still in the league. He's ham and egging it, but he knows he's a professional. He knows what to do when he gets on the floor,
yeah,
how to help his team win.
yeah. With that said, Josh Hart was an amazing pickup, right? He does the dirty work which you need. Some of the things Julius can't do, or some of the other guys, Mitch can't pull in those loose balls all the time. But 17, 18 mil, Bill. I mean, I don't count other people's money, but from the Knicks' perspective, is it a wise investment?
I I don't think so. I don't think so
Mm,
because first of all, it's going to be a different situation going into into your second season with a team. And let's be clear about this with Josh Hart, this great winner that we're making him
yep,
out to be.
yep,
That was his first dance in the postseason too.
that's true.
And I tell you what, didn't look all that good against Miami. Did not. Wasn't getting all those rebounds, wasn't making all those scrappy hustle plays, was committing some dumb fouls. And I mean, I get tired of the constant conversation with the referee. That's what today's NBA game is. I get that. I'm
Yep,
not anti Josh Hart, but at the price that you're going to have to pay to get him, I think you can do better for less.
they've kind of feel like they've consummated the marriage in a way. Do you feel? I mean, he loves New York.
Oh yeah, just
It's a
had
done deal.
twins. Just had twins.
Yeah,
He's gonna give up his player option, and I get all of that. I get all of that. But for the 17, 18 million you're gonna wind up paying him, can you do better?
oh yeah, I think so. I'd love to split that, but he does a lot of things this team needs. He does. It does, and the cap is going to go up. But as long as we continue to shuffle the pieces around that bill, that fit, and for me, I'm looking at Obi and IQ. Like, let's say you don't want to move off of Randall, you don't want to touch Mitch, you don't want to touch RJ. Emmanuel Quickly's value has gone up in this league, and he wants to be a starter soon enough, and you're going to have to pay him like a starter. Should him and Obi be used then if you're going to spend that money on Hart to then go get you a couple of extra draft picks, maybe um,
I,
cost
I'm not.
cost friendly contracts
I'm not so sure about draft picks
and
anymore.
a piece?
Nick's got a ton of them now, and what are they
Yep.
worth? I'm not so sure about draft picks anymore because too many guys come in this league and they're not
Yeah.
ready to play. They're
Yeah.
not ready to be NBA players yet. So now you're talking another couple of 3 years in the process. You've got Obi, you've got Quickly, you've had those guys, as a matter of fact, play in two playoffs in their 3 years in the league. And of the two, one is like locked in as a role player, and the other guy is a
Mm.
role player for now with potential and upside to be an NBA starter. So I'm not. I'm one of those guys. I like to have as many good players as I can.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
do
just
too.
across the board, good players. Maybe one notch below the All Star level.
Yep.
Give me about four of those guys. Give me one star with those four guys. And that way I got a little bit more that I can have on my bench. Instead of having I mean, like look at Portland. Look at their situation.
Oh,
They got one guy
it's
who's gonna make
tough.
$50 million and they can't put jack around him. They've got nothing.
That's mini. That's going to be who else soon? That's Chicago right now.
That's Phoenix also.
Yeah.
They got two of them.
Yeah. The Clippers. We are in a good spot. We just have to make the right moves. You know.
Consider this. Consider this. Look at the teams that finished in front of the New York Knicks in the Eastern Conference. Boston, eminently talented. They've got to figure out if it's time for Brown and Tatum to leave, or one of them to leave. They resolve their coaching situation. Vote of confidence. He's back. They're just going to put some more people around him on the bench.
Yep.
Philadelphia, okay, what's going to happen with Harden? Nick Nurse is the new sheriff in town. They got some nice pieces, but they've come up short in the past few years. Milwaukee, you talk about going from championship to trash. Yeah, they've got the best player in the NBA in Giannis Antetokounmpo. But then after that, you got an aging Middleton and Holiday. Oh, and by the way, you got a new coach,
Yeah.
Adrian Griffin, who,
AJ.
you don't know what he's going to be as a head coach. You don't know. You don't know
Yep.
how those players are going to respond to him. But the picture that I'm painting, same thing in Atlanta. Quinn Snyder, I mean that's not a stable situation down there
No.
with
Yep.
Young and Collins and that group. And then you come to the Knicks. There's some stability there. They don't have to hit a home run. They just gotta fill a couple of spots, man. Compliment that great player that you have.
Great.
Help him.
Mm.
Put some people with him that are going to make the collective better instead of star hunting.
Yep.
I'm more excited about Nurkic than I am about Embiid because Nurkic you got a real chance to get and still have something left. Embiid, you get Embiid, like I said, it'll be him and two other guys. How'd that work in
Um,
Philly?
yeah, I'm with you on the pieces that fit. Look at the way the Celtics flamed out. It's like you take your turn, I take my turn, and then we look at the Heat movement. We look at the Denver Nuggets ball movement, pieces that flying around, shooters inside and out. 2003, man, that's how I want to play. But I don't think we can play that way under Tom Thibodeau. But obviously, I need to see us get him a better roster, like you said. Um, So you saying it's going to be tough to move Randle, right? RJ's here, Mitch, we don't know yet, but you feel like those three, do one of them need to move on for everything to fit better?
I clearly think it's Randall, but again, he's
Mm.
a $30 million guy
Yep.
whose contract is going to go up in each of the next 2 years after this one.
There's that commitment.
And you're going to have to find that perfect situation for him. Okay, Phoenix is the one that I put out there, but
Yep.
here's the fly in that Phoenix ointment. It's a big fly. Dallas. They're the team that wants Aiton.
That's
They're the
true.
team that
Yep.
has
Not
Kyrie
much.
Irving. Sign and trade. Kyrie's a UFA. He can walk. It's pretty clear he's not going to be back in Dallas.
I,
But
I agree.
if you can use that piece to get an Aiton, and again, if Chris Paul is truly as we all seem to think he is done, seems like a good fit to me. He's played with
Yeah.
KD before. I don't know how receptive Kevin is, but
Yep.
so
I-
and again, Dallas wants Aiton. They want him.
they're going to go hard after Aiton, and he fits. They need inside presence, sort of like we do. But um, I think if I had to guess now, I think Mitch is back. I think his contract is just so friendly. If they can figure out him to get involved on the offensive side, a jump hook or whatever, but improve those free throws first. Something that he can work on, Bill.
I've CP. I've always been CT. I've always been of a mind that
Mm.
after a player hits his third year in the NBA, that's what
That's
he's
who
going to
they
be.
are. Yep.
That's what he's going to be. And all
And
these wonderful things we talk about for Mitch and we talk about for
yep,
Obi,
third year.
I got a feeling they are what we've seen. That's who they're going to be.
Yep.
Now again, if Obi finds himself in a different situation where he's playing some three, where he can do all that leak out stuff, nobody's counting on him to be a defender or a rebounder or anything like that. I mean, consider this. Consider Dominique Wilkins. Consider Julius Irving. Two guys who were never mentioned in the same sentence as good defender. They were leak out guys. They were great offensive players. They were transitional players. I'm not saying Obi's going to be like them, but his game is similar to what they did. And what was the position that both of them flourished at? Small forward. Dominique played some four. Dominique played some two when he was with Atlanta.
Yeah. Yep.
And Julius played all five positions when he was in the ABA. So, I mean, Obi Toppin to me he's cut out of that cloth as opposed to what we think of a power forward, Maurice Lucas, or for what the heck, for that matter, Julius Randle.
Yeah.
Obi's not in that. He's not in that class of player. He's not. He's not that guy. He doesn't have that kind of body. So, again, it's interesting. The Knicks are in a more stable position than about 4 or 5 of the teams that they were competing against. And another situation we need to keep an eye on is Toronto. They still don't have a coach. They're the
Mm.
last team. They're the last team in this coaches race. Some interesting choices out there too. Kenny Atkinson is one of my favorites.
Yep. Me too.
Uh, Mike Brown's assistant at Sacramento is it Gonzalez? Am I getting that
Mm.
last name right? He's a hot commodity. Uh, as is Adelman's son. Rick Adelman's his son is Dave.
Yeah,
These, and I think that the next Toronto coach is going to be one of those three guys. I really do.
that's some.
And how does that affect them going forward? They've got some interesting pieces, especially in
Yeah,
the front court.
yeah, I'm with you.
We we
That's
heard we heard OG Ananobi's name a lot this past season in trade rumors. So
Tom Thibodeau loves OG. He loves that kind of player. Good archetype to can play the 3-4. Um, better defensively than Obi. Obviously, can
yep,
shoot as well. Better,
yep, yep.
versatile.
Good
Yep.
rebounder, good rebounder. Here's another guy that I think the Knicks might be smart to go after. I mean, but again,
Yeah.
they got to make some changes. Powell with Dallas, free agent,
Mm. Dwight Powell.
4-5, role player,
Mm.
rebounder, defender. When the ball finds him, he can shoot the three.
I like uh I like him. I like Keldon Johnson from the San Antonio Spurs. Also of the similar mold.
Yep.
Lit us up this season. But
I don't think the Spurs are gonna get rid of anybody because they got somebody
yeah,
coming on board that they got to see how everybody fits with him.
yeah. Well, we have that guy now. We got that gunner, and he's not just a point guard, Bill. He's a gunner. 41 points again in game six,
Yep.
elimination game. He's the Knicks' best player since.
Walt Clyde Frazier.
Oh,
You
you've
think
got
about
him.
it.
You've got him over Melo
Yep.
right now.
Yep.
Yep, can't disagree. I mean, from what I've seen yet, his career is not done yet. But man, has he gotten better every year in the league? Better and better. And given his size, his moves, being at 6 feet, how hard it is to pull off some of those things.
Guy who was drafted in the second round.
That's crazy.
Second
Um,
round. College player of the
Jokic.
year. College player of the year. A championship.
Wow.
And look at what
Yeah,
he's done. He's transformed this team. And to
he
me,
has.
that's the guy you got to build around. That's the guy. You got to get some people that complement his game.
Yeah.
And I mean, when you think about it, we talk about game six, but the Knicks were one play away from game seven.
Yeah.
They were one play away.
Oh, it's tough to relive. I think coaching and IQ's injury, and we're there
Yeah.
with a great chance against the Boston Celtics, who have
Dude,
all the same flaws the Knicks had.
when Miami
Selfish.
got knocked out, it's like, oh, the Knicks are going to the Eastern Conference Championship. But they couldn't beat Miami.
No, but a good learning lesson. Experience now in the playoffs, man. I think players will develop a lot from this experience. And I'm looking at RJ Grimes. I don't know if Randle can, going to be any different in the playoffs.
I don't
I
think he
think
can.
he's going to be healthier, but I hope Tibbs learns a little bit throughout the regular season too. We need another gear, Bill, another level to go to when the playoffs arrive. We see these other teams that okay, maybe they go 70% in the regular season, 80%. When the playoffs hit, we see how good they are defensively. And the Knicks, I know we were banged up, but we were tired, I think, after that. And we only played 5 games against Cleveland. Imagine if
Well,
the Cleveland series was a bumping.
the other thing, let's give Miami some credit, man, because it didn't matter who
Mm,
it was. When it was swing, swing three. And whoever was
yeah,
shooting that three was knocking it down. Period.
yeah,
So I mean, give Miami some credit. Give them some credit. They didn't luck their way to the NBA Finals. They did
no,
a lot of things right, and they created a lot of problems for teams. They played the way they wanted to play, and made everybody in their path uncomfortable doing it.
yeah. Great coaching, great system, two-way guys, and that's what we need. with the Knicks, right? Good roster balance, and I just want the Knicks to be more open to picking up guys that don't fit necessarily with their connections. Like Kevin Love was waived. He was available on the waiver wire, right? You mean we couldn't have benefited for some veteran shooting?
Guy
If
knocks down threes.
Yeah, if they had traded Obi at the deadline for Duarte or whatever deal they could have found and backed up Randle with a Kevin Love offense,
But but
rebounding.
but if you get Duarte, does Hart work for you then?
Hmm. See, that's my point about the Knicks being too set
Yeah,
on so many dudes.
yeah.
There's dudes out there. If you expand your horizon, um, is there anyone else out there? First, I want to ask you, how active do you think the Knicks will be? Like, do you think this is the fourth year now for this regime coming in? Do you think the now that there's expectations, the clock's kind of started now, or do you think they're gonna have that pressure to satisfy the fan base?
I think I think they're going to do something. What that something
Mm.
is, I don't know. I don't know if
Yep.
they're going to go complimentary or if they're going to go star hunting. And if they go star hunting, it's going to be a vastly different team next year because your bench will be gone. Your bench will be gone. Because those draft picks they have, I mean, where?
Yep.
Where? Where are they? You know, if it's just like last year at the draft, Knicks couldn't get in the top 10. They wound up trading these picks. They have no value. They have no value. I mean, it looks nice. We got a bunch of draft picks. We got draft capital. Not so much. Not so much.
What level of star do you think? Do you think a guy like an Aiton, an OG Anunoby, or do you think they're gonna go for the Levines, for the Cats, for the
See, I
Beals?
I I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what their mindset is. Is their mindset complimentary or is their mindset star? And the more
Mm,
I think about this Porzingis thing, kind of fits. Kind of fits. He's
mm.
older, he's wiser. The past couple of years, he's been reasonably healthy because that's a big part of what we have to remember when we talk about Kristaps Porzingis. And boy, I never thought these words would be coming out of my mouth.
He just, by the way, he just did an interview a day ago. I don't know if you peeped that yet.
No, I did not see it. I did not see it, but I
Yeah.
do recall his comments
Yep.
earlier this year that he
He's open.
understands that maybe leaving the Knicks wasn't the best thing for him.
Oh,
You know,
brotherly advice did him wrong at that
of
occasion.
course,
But he,
it's always family, bro. It's always family.
but he was a young kid, and we weren't in a stable situation, right? And now we are.
Yeah,
Which timing, Bill, timing is everything.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, I like the fit. I like the fit with KP. He played 65 games, was healthier. His numbers were the best of his career. Now, we don't know if that was lightning in a bottle and then we sign him and he turns into a pumpkin again. Um, I like Mitchell Robinson, what he gave us. Like I just want a two-way center, which pains me to say. Um, but yeah, I like the Aiton sort of situation. I think he's a guy you could get more cost friendly. The fact that he's Phoenix are just ready to be rid of him. Um,
I'm not sure that now they have a new coach again. Frank Vogel is their new head coach. And if you look at the teams that Frank Vogel has had in the past, he's had that big man in the middle. Had it in
yep.
Indiana, had it in LA, not so much in Orlando. But Vogel, he's a defensive minded coach.
Yep.
And it doesn't hurt having a 7-footer who can legitimately anchor your defense. Aiton is not this great rim protector, but he's
No.
a solid all around center who does all the center things well. And
He.
again, He's just that one click below All Star, and
Yep.
those are the kinds of guys that if you want to win in this league, that's what you got to have. That's where
Yep.
this league is moving. That's where this league even look at Denver. Look at Denver.
I'm looking.
Jokic, second round pick,
Yep.
and
MPJ.
they dumped on him. He's slow. He can't move. He's not athletic.
Athletic.
Now look at what you got. You know, Denver built their team. They built their team. Him, Murray. Then they went out and got some
They fit.
solid veterans. Bruce
Bruce
Brown,
Brown.
Uncle
Braun.
Jeff Green. They bring
Yep.
in Gordon. Gordon comes to town. Now Michael Porter Jr. is playing like he belongs. They built that team.
Yep.
And I'd love to see the New York Knicks go down the same path.
Absolutely. And I think we got to look for guys, Bill, that aren't being utilized better or fulfilling their potential. Like, what did everyone say about Lowry Markkinen before he got up out of Cleveland? Would Cleveland love to get that back?
Mm-hmm.
Possibly, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you mentioned the DeAndre Ayton situation, and I know a lot of people are low on DeAndre Ayton. He's a guy who needs touches. He's not getting those touches playing with Booker and with KD.
They were
Right?
waving the guy off in
He's
the
a
playoffs. No,
yeah.
just go down there and wait for a rebound.
He's an 18-10 guy in his sleep.
Yeah.
I agree with that, and could even be better. We don't know. Like I said, with Lowry Markkinen, whoever saw this coming with that guy? You put a guy on a team that plays around that guy, and you might see something.
Again, a guy that commands some attention.
Mm,
Those are the guys
yeah,
you need to have. They don't have to be stars, but you got to know that that guy's on the floor. We got to pay attention to him because he could do
yep.
some damage to us.
And I'm looking at those dudes in Toronto. OG is another one with the bigger role. Use him. Mitchell Robinson did need more touches. I feel like they did wave him off quite a lot, but with
Yeah,
those hands, sometimes I don't know.
I
Like,
don't like his hands and I don't like his feet. I just don't. Now, can he go and improve on
mm,
those things? It's like when Marcus Camby was here. Marcus came out of UMass,
yep,
great shot blocker. Great shot blocker, solid defender. And
yep.
they thought he was going to be more here in the NBA, but what did he turn out to be? Shot blocker, defender. That was it. That was it. There were no memorable offensive outbursts by Marcus Camby. I really think Knick fans were spoiled by Patrick Ewing. Think about it. I
Mm,
mean, when he was at Georgetown, the Hoya Destroyer, and I mean, he would just single
killing it.
handedly wreck offenses just by the way he went about his business on defense. Then he comes to the NBA. Oh, damn, he got a little post move. Oh, damn, he can step out 15 and knock it down. This dude can play some offense. Well, that doesn't happen with every player.
No,
That does not happen with every player. And all these pipe dreams of Obi getting better, of Mitchell Robinson getting better. No, those guys are what they are. Yeah, you look at what Quickly did this year. He was in the conversation for the sixth man of
six
the year.
man.
He was in
Yep,
the conversation. He stepped up.
stepped up big, defensively, growing, third year. Yep, he's going to be sought after. I think I could see teams like Houston, Detroit, teams that are rebuilding could see a
Portland.
starting role in
Portland's looking
Portland.
for him.
Yeah,
He was mentioned for Portland a couple of times last year.
here is another team, the T Wolves. Right, Mike Conley. They need a guy who's ready to take the keys. And I've been watching some of these cat proposals, and the Minnesota side of the family wants quickly in that kind of deal.
I like Anthony Anderson a lot. a
Mm.
lot. What is there not to like? He's just mired
Edwards,
in
yeah.
a yeah, Anthony Edwards. I'm
Anthony
sorry.
Anderson's the comedian for
Yeah,
the.
yeah, Anthony Edwards. I like him a lot. I really
Yep,
do.
he's built
Uh,
for it.
if he
Um,
can get out of Cat Shadow, he'd be interesting. And I don't think Minnesota would have any leanings toward letting him go someplace without getting like a ton of guys in return. So
yeah. Is there anything else? Any other rumors or things you would like to address?
no, I mean, again, out of let's see, Milwaukee, Brooklyn, Atlanta, Boston, Philly. Who has a better situation, them or the Knicks?
Mm. That's trying to win. Because I look at OKC situation as something good. Um, Spurs will get there, but in terms of trying to win, the Knicks are right there.
That's why I'm just keeping my focus on the East
Yep.
because right now there's a little bit of upheaval, there's a little bit of turmoil. Now, all those teams that I mentioned, I think I mentioned Milwaukee, they
Yep.
have pieces in place to immediately come out of the box like gangbusters. They do. But right now, the Knicks are in a better situation than all of them. It remains
Yeah,
to
I
be
agree.
seen. Are they going to go complimentary or are they going to go star hunting? And that's what I think we all need to strap in, sit back, and get ready to see what's going to happen with that.
Yeah, facts. Keep an eye on the CAA thing. But the Knicks, they won the season series against the Celtics. They won the season series against Denver. They won the season series against Miami. They won the season series against the Cavs. They won the season series against everyone. Excellent regular season team.
Mm-hmm.
Can we get some veteran help or some experience that's built for the playoffs?
See,
Playoffs are a different thing.
Sherwin in the comments says Bleacher Report suggests that the Wolves could trade Towns to the Knicks for Randle quickly in the 2024 first rounder. I don't want to
Mm,
see Carl Anthony
no,
Towns here.
me neither. That
I don't think
that
he's
that
built for this. I really don't.
the salary's crazy, Bill.
Yeah,
Um,
that too. I mean, if
yep.
if you can't thrive with three solid players
Yeah,
around you in a place where nobody's looking in Minnesota,
and
what makes you think you're going to come to the biggest stage in the world? And you say whatever you want about Madison Square Garden not being this, not being that. It is the world's most famous arena. It is a place where people
mm,
like to come and play and excel and get their great game tape right there because that's something short of being in the playoffs, short of being in the championship. I turned out the Garden. Every player wants that on their resume. Everybody.
they do. That's the place. In fact, I just saw a video before going on. Donovan Mitchell on a live stream was swooning all over how good the Garden was at
Mm-hmm.
beginning the playoffs, and that
Mm-hmm.
the anthem being sang, and it gave him chills. So Donovan Mitchell, though, he wants to come here still. I feel
Why why do you think Trey Young likes to just come here and burn the joint down?
he's in envy. He's in an envy. Yeah, but that's why I love Brunson so much. He chose to come here,
Oh yeah.
and I respect Randle for choosing the Knicks to coming here, and his body of work, what he's been able to do, make All NBA. It's nothing personal for me against Randle. It's fit now. It's Does he make anyone better?
And
He hits. Yeah,
we're in the same place on that. And again, before you go star hunting, just look at the team that's representing the East in the NBA Finals. Six undrafted
undrafted.
players. Six.
And shooters. Duncan Robinson didn't even play for them. They dusted him off
Yeah.
and now he's a useful rotation piece. I mean, they're going to fall short, thankfully, but I couldn't deal with that if the Heat win. But they're outmatched.
And they'll
But
they'll be beaten by another team that was basically built brick by brick, at
yeah,
least with regard to the people that lead the team, the stars of the team.
yeah, I knew they would be dangerous when they signed Lowry and Oladipo. If they had a full strength team, we don't know, but
Hmm.
they're definitely Pat Riley. You got to admire the fact that he just wants championships. It's just every year get me guys who can help me win. It's not about selling playoff tickets. It's not about making the fourth seed. It's rings, baby.
Again, the Knicks, their fans, they celebrate making it to the
Uh,
conference semifinals
can't blame us.
once a decade. And what has that guy done in down
Mm,
Miami? What has he done?
yep, we got to keep getting there though. We got to be back there. But Bill, it's awesome chopping this thing up as always. Everyone follow Bill. He's very interactive on Twitter. Um, always kind with his time. The legend. And yeah, anything else you would like to say about the NBA, the playoffs?
CT, I'm just waiting to see what's going to happen with these Knicks in the offseason. That's what I'm really waiting for. I think Denver's
Yep.
got this. Miami might win a game. Denver might give them a game, a second
Yeah.
game. I, a 6 game series could happen, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Yep.
Denver is like surgical, and they
Agree.
can zone and press and all that mess. And I think was it Jackson or Van Gundy? One of them said it the other night. It's like Jokic loves it when you double team him because now he's going to be a surgeon and just find the open man and
Yeah.
slice you open. This is what he
Oh,
does. That's what he
but
does.
you need to be found open. You need to move, be in a position to be found too, right? I like Josh Hart, the fact that he quickly cuts, but everybody else kind of stands around and watches Brunson and Randle go to work. And we were the heaviest isolation team. And man, I just don't know if that's going to work in the playoffs. You need, yeah,
I'm just looking at these comments. Negative narrative around Cat. It helps the Knicks. I look. Fool me once, it's on
yeah.
me. Fool me twice. Woohoo! Yeah, yeah.
But with the cat bill, like a good question Jay Boogie wanted us to hit on was with this cap situation changing, like how could that affect the Knicks, right? That's another reason I don't want a $60 million guy.
Yeah, they can go star hunting now. It's like again, I'm hoping that it's complementary guys. That it's guys that's gonna make
Hmm.
Brunson better. Guys that he can make better.
Yep.
Don't come in here with your dusty star thinking that you're gonna hang your star in New York. It don't work that way. It doesn't
Yeah.
work that way.
If the lights
Reggie
are too
Jackson.
bright,
Yeah.
if the lights are too bright in Mini, what do you think's going to happen in New York? Like,
Ooh.
it's tough.
Like I
But look
said,
out.
Cat can't dominate there. What's his claim to fame? He won the 3-point shooting at the All Star break. Really?
I forgot
Who
about that.
cares? Who
But
cares?
he's got CAA. That counts for something.
Who
But
cares?
Spider, is Spider coming? Let's talk about it soon. Let's yeah, reconvene after a free agency. And as always, man, be well and you keep us updated on the golf game.
It's a disaster. I'm playing Monday and Tuesday, so we'll see.
I see.
We'll see.
I wish I could shoot in the early 100s.
Yeah, I wish I couldn't.
uh, what's the best part of your game? The long game? You were good off getting off the tee,
No, actually,
putting.
that's the worst part of my game. I'm pretty good second, third shot in.
Yeah, setting it up.
The green is always an adventure for me, but off the tee is like nightmare. If I could be more consistent off the tee,
Oh,
I'd be in the 80s.
The
Makes a
streets would be,
difference. It makes a
yeah, the
difference.
streets would be buzzing then.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
do a good job of keeping the streets buzzing right now, my man. So
Appreciate you as always. Let's talk soon. Be well. Peace, Bill.
enjoy the summer. I'll talk to you
Yeah,
soon. Thanks, CT.
we'll do. All the viewers love hearing from you and your insight. Thanks again. Peace, ladies and gentlemen. The one, the only Bill Daughtry, giving us his opinion, his thoughts, his wisdom on the Knicks situation. We got to hear from everyone in terms of their broader perspective because Bill's seen a lot of basketball, a lot of New York Knicks basketball, and I made some amazing points about building around who we already know is a star and is ready for this spotlight, ready for the moment. JB, the one and only Jalen Brunson. And with that said, you know, a lot of great points about complementing Brunson in terms of do we really need that? You know, spending all the money on one or two guys, right? And then you have no depth building around him, right? We see the depth in Denver, we see the depth in Miami, and you kind of got to follow the trends going on in the NBA. You know, I mentioned Heat have an inside and outside presence. Denver have that inside outside presence. Right? We saw the Boston Celtics struggle because you live and die by the three. You know, can you win 4 rounds in the playoffs, 16 games, relying on a jump shot? Right, when the defense tightens up, the coaches, the experts, the coordinators can scheme against and take away what you do well. I just think you need more versatility, man. Um, keep the buzz coming in the chat, the comment section, replay gang, salute. And how do you guys want to build this thing this off season? How busy do you think the Knicks are going to be? I mean, from what I'm seeing about Carl Anthony Towns and Cat, I think it's easily 75% no, maybe 25% yes, less than that maybe. So that'd be a hell of a risky move for Leon to make, given how people are feeling about it right now and, what Mitchell Robinson can do for us. There are parts of Cat's game that are attractive, ability to stretch the floor, shoot, but rebounding, toughness, all of those things are question marks. And we don't need any more question marks. We're trying to get guys in to alleviate question marks, guys who are proven, guys that can come in. So yeah, it's going to be a fascinating offseason and probably the biggest for Leon Rose, biggest in his regime. I know last season was a home run, getting Jalen Brunson, but that work was done, early on. I think behind the scenes, I think that was lined up, but now there's a lot of options. With success comes options and pressure, expectations now. What are you guys' thoughts on the KP interview yesterday or 2 days ago? I don't know if you've seen yet or heard some of the quotes, but Kristaps Porzingis chatting exclusively with his buddy Ariel Helwani, who reports on the MMA, UFC situation, boxing, combat sports. And Ariel asked him about his situation with the Knicks, with Washington. Firstly, he said he's enjoying being in Washington. He likes the team chemistry. He likes playing with Kuzma, Denny Advada, good friends. But there is a situation where KP said it makes sense for him to opt out of his final year, 33 million, I think, or 36 million. And I think KP's searching for that long-term deal. He's certainly doing the PR situation like Dirty says, but it's kind of like what he's missing now. He's missing that opportunity. The love was second to none. That Knick fans show. I mean, we talk about the criticism and the frustration fans give players when they're not performing, but it's equally as better when you are performing well and the New York fan base loves you. We give love and we give shine like no other fan base. Like I said to Howard Beck, last week, we had lineups of Jose Calderon, Shane Larkin, Quincy Acey. I mean, and the Garden was chanting defense. So it's like we're hungry. We're hungry right now, and we give love. If you clown around and you play bad, we'll give you booze. But if you play well, you play hard, and we give you love also. Um, Now the New York Knicks are getting back to playing some resemblance of 90s winning basketball with the defense, with the rebounding, the defense. Um, Jalen Brunson's tough. He's kind of that throwback, like 80s, 90s kind of point guard also. But we need to get him some extra help because we need, like I said to Bill, man, I don't know, so many flashbacks of Game 6 and the frustrations, but just little adjustments that needed to be made. Brunson already playing 46, 45 minutes, and we're having him dribble the ball up every single time, you know, being stalked by the defender. Would it kill you to, you know, run a couple double screens or get you free him up? No, that wouldn't free him. That we needed to free him up. So, yeah, Brunson's that guy, but he can't be playing 40 minutes. So, the way I'm looking at things, and I'm in the process of putting together a bigger off-season primer, which we'll talk about soon. But the Knicks need to address more guard help that can dribble and create. Now, Emmanuel Quickly, if he's still around, I got big hopes for Emmanuel Quickly. Being that backup point guard, obviously, and finishing games out, perhaps even starting next to Brunson. But we need the shooting from him badly. But Emmanuel Quickly's situation, like what's going to happen with the contract, we don't yet know. And I do think they are going to be, talking with his name involved in trade discussions. I don't think anything's really going to be imminent. I think it'd be wise to bring Quickly back for that final year. Maybe they do agree to a good extension number. But I do expect the Josh Hart thing, family, like Francisco says, Josh Hart's going to get taken care of. Does he give the Knicks a little bit of a discount? I think I don't know about discount, but I could see a number where it's maybe starting at 17, 18, and then it goes down, maybe to help the New York Knicks out. Maybe they give him a player option in year 4 or something so that he can capitalize again and take another longer term deal. I think that's in play. Yeah, shot creation, like Vaughn says, Alec Burks. I think that's a good fit. Keep a lookout for Detroit. They got Bogdan, who's a bit older, and he doesn't quite fit their timeline. I think he provides the shooting. I don't know if he's going to be good defensively. He's lost a step. He was never great defensively. But yeah, we need the shooting from him. Definitely sign me up. Um, yeah, I'm really thinking the Knicks get into this draft as well. Are you guys feeling like the Knicks are going to definitely pick up a draft pick, whether it's in the second round or late in the first round? We'll be doing some draft content also and getting some guests on, with an eye to look at these picks late in the first round, early second round, undrafted guys. I think there's going to be talent. We've seen it in the league. Max Strauss, Vincent, Jokic. There's ballers. They're all over the place. If you believe in your scouting and you find the guys with the right skill set, the skill set being defense, shooting, role players, guys that actually want to win and sit down and play their role, fit in, I credit Obi Toppin for the way he's handled this situation. God knows any other kind of young man, young rookie would have kicked up a fuss by now. But yeah, the way Obi handled himself in New York is great. The way Derrick Rose handled, himself in this situation's been great also. So, salute to the Knicks in terms of building that culture where, it's a pretty good locker room. I'm not going to lie. I mean, I know Randle's shown his frustrations, but in terms of guys just getting along, it seems to be that's something that the Knicks really consider heavily. So they're going to be doing a lot of draft workouts, interviews, hearing from guys late in the first round, and I think we need a guy who can move off ball and pull up from deep. A shooter. Hopefully he can defend better, but a guy like Duncan Robinson, a guy who's going to pull gravity for the defense. Also, the thing about Emmanuel Quickly is he's a spot up shooter. Yes, he can pull up off the dribble, but he can't really shoot off ball movement, and neither can Quentin Grimes just yet. Um, we saw one of that final play in Miami in Game 6. Um, we haven't ran that action enough, but Quentin Grimes can't really catch the ball coming around the curl, and turn around and sink a three. He's kind of a guy who's catch and shoot at this time. So yeah, we need guys who can shoot off movement. That's going to be big. Yeah, pieces that fit, right? Should they continue with Randle? Those are the kind of guys that we need around Randle. Guys that can cut, can move. Try to get Randle passing the ball more instead of forcing it, into the double teams. And force the down low action also. If Mitchell Robinson's down low under the bucket, he's sealed his man off. Then feed him the rock. Um, I know Jalen Brunson's that gunner for us, but Brunson can get those assist numbers up. If and I fully expect Brunson to do that. If the Knicks bring in more help at the wing spot, RJ's game continues to take that next level. I think, and there's less scoring pressure on Brunson. I think he's going to be more of a distributor, willing facilitator, all of that. Um, with that said, Quentin Grimes does need more shots. You know, it was an up and down year for Q Dot. Starting in his sophomore year, that was big. We talked about, would Evan Fournier stay in the rotation? Well, that didn't last very long because Quentin Grimes is great. He's great at what he does. Tom Thibodeau loves him. Tom Thibodeau wanted Quentin Grimes. So I fully expect Quentin Grimes to continue with this club. He ain't going nowhere. Quentin Grimes is going to be that starting two guard unless we make a major upgrade and we push RJ to the two and we bring in an OG or we bring in a Zach LaVine. Yeah, a lot of these guys like LaVine and Cat, I like some of their skill set, but I don't think they're the right fit for where we're at right now. I really think we should continue to trust the players we have for another year. It's tricky because you have that hunger to go another round. We want to go to the ECF, we want to go to the NBA Finals, but we've got to continue to see these guys and see what they can do. But having said that, do I think they do try to push for that upgrade? I think that's very, very, very likely. Now, it's probably going to be just at one position. Which guy is going to be that one? I guess depends on who's going to be available, what kind of salary they're on, what does the trade look like. But yeah, like I said, you guys know the value on this team. Emmanuel Quickly, Obi does have it value with some of these teams. Mitchell Robinson's stock value went up a hell of a lot. So, which is the kind of right pieces that you guys feel are best to bring in? Obviously, Bill brought up the great point with Toronto. They don't have a coach yet. Masai Ujiri reports lately that he's kind of torn, and it's pretty clear that they don't know what direction they're going. They didn't sell any pieces at the trade period, did Toronto? Even though it looked like Toronto wasn't going anywhere, they still didn't sell off any pieces. So yeah, Toronto doesn't have that stability that the New York Knicks have right now. Now Atlanta got their guy in there. Let's see how they look. But defensively, there's still concerns with Trae Young. So I put the Knicks ahead of Atlanta. I put the Knicks ahead of Toronto. The Knicks are ahead of the Bulls. I think we're still a better team than the Heat in the regular season. The rest is up to us. Playoffs ball, man. It's just so different. What's good to the best chat in the biz? Salute. Yep, Cat's got that moxie that he's soft. AC salute says no LaVine and no to Cat. Yep. Contracts are bad. they are quite one-dimensional also. If we're going to get on Julius Randle's case, we've got to get on their case as well. I ain't seen Cat play any D. I haven't seen Zach LaVine also play any D also. So we know Jalen Brunson's not a strong perimeter defender at all. He gives effort, but does that create more holes, more chinks in the armor, bringing in these guys also? You know, I'm all about roster balance, right? Mitch provides the defense, the anchor that makes up for a lot of these dudes' lapses. And I think, we need that. We need that because, guys do tend to take plays off. Julius Randle, even Brunson, even RJ, you know, we're not, we're not elite defensively by any means. I think Tom Thibodeau's strategy does catch a break sometimes, 3-point shooting. It goes hot, it goes cold at times. But um, get me guys at a high IQ, can move off the ball. We need better player movement, which can then promote ball movement. See, everybody wants to just say ball movement, but it's player movement first, which promotes the ball to be moved, right? If everyone's standing around, you're not going to see ball movement because you literally can't just pass the ball to somebody who's stationary. They need to be cutting, they need to be moving. And guess what? Every time Quentin Grimes or Josh Hart cuts, I'm willing to bet they'll get the ball more than 50% of the time. If they cut right. If Mitchell Robinson cuts to the hoop for alley-oop, he's going to get the ball more than 50% of the time. But if they're standing around, Randle and Brunson are just going to go to work. They're not going to be looking to pass the ball to a guy who's just one-on-one. Those kinds of things. I put out a tweet also about being careful. But it's a big off season. We got summer league. We'll see if the Knicks have any young prospects that play. But we got FIBA, the FIBA World Cup, October 25th to early September. And also we have a lot of New York Knicks pieces, possibly future pieces involved. We got RJ Barrett with Team Canada. We got Isaiah Hartenstein with Germany. Rokas, I would expect him to play with Lithuania. Kristaps Porzingis confirmed he's playing with Latvia. Chris Duarte, I would expect him to play for a Dominican Republic. But above those, I would expect the Knicks possibly out of Jalen Brunson, Julius Randle, Mitchell Robinson, do one of these guys get called up for USA basketball? It depends on who's willing to give up their summer, who's going to be out of the NBA's elite, who's going to be willing to want to give up their off season, Now Bam Adebayo he was first team All NBA or second team, right? Just coming off the NBA finals, is he going to want to play for Team USA? If he doesn't, that opens the door for Mitch. I don't know how many other USA big men are going to come in that 5 spot. I mean, who usually plays? It's Plumlee as a backup. You got a lot of centers that are international: Embiid, Jokic, Anthony Davis. I would suggest that he's going to be one of the first options, but I think there's a chance they do ask Mitch possibly. Evan Fournier. Salute Sharp Powers. Salute. Evan Fournier playing also in France with Vic, with Wemby. That's going to be crazy. Also, I'm looking forward to that. But man, no doubt all eyes are on the next stage, which is the NBA draft, and we got the free agency period now. I'm looking at in terms of the Knicks' next moves. We're gonna hear the options of Jericho Sims and Deuce McBride get picked up. Those options are like 1 milli, less than 2 milli. And then the next move is probably going to possibly hear about an IQ extension. No doubt that, the Knicks and the agents have been talking about that. The Knicks front office has been meeting at the Combine. They've definitely been at the pro day, Clutch Sports, CAA pro days, all of that. Tom Thibodeau was at the combine as also, so that lets you know the Knicks are still very much willing to bring in young talent and looking to maybe fill the cupboards up with some extra young talent. We do have Jeffries, we do have Trevor Keels that may not be on the roster. Um, and that's something I want to talk about. The Knicks have struggled developing, these undrafted, you know, uh, prospects, these undrafted guys who the Miami Heats of the world, these other teams in the NBA do get lucky with. So that's something I want to see the Knicks grow, get better at. We identified Arokas Jokovitis, who's playing in Barcelona. Uh, he was selected ahead of Deuce McBride. So if Rokas is solid, if he ends up being a Knicks rotation player, that's decent. We hit with Jericho Sims, 100%. That's money with the 58 selection. But I do want us to get better finding, guys, even if they're undrafted, guys that can play. I might need your guys' wisdom, memory, but I don't think the Knicks have found, I would say, a raw undrafted kind of prospect any better than a Langston Galloway kind of guy. I think, yeah, Langston Galloway, it was I think we found Sean Williams, the 3-point shooter. He was in the rotation, but it was a very bare situation. We used to have Maurice Endauer, Kenny Wooten, Lucas Samanic. We tried Jared Harper, 5'8", from Phoenix. Jared Harper didn't work out. Who else do we got now? Like I said, Jeffries. It's a revolving door, man. I mean, so yeah, that's a situation. They're not going to get any burn, but if you're looking at the Miami Heat, that's just the story right now. 7 undrafted guys. They're finding guys. They're building rotations around these guys as well. So yeah, the Knicks, the cap going up. In the situation, yeah, Miles Powell. Yeah, you guys are on fire. Kenny Wooten was good. You got different skill sets, but yeah, with that situation, yeah, with guys earning big money, you're going to need to find these guys. You're going to need to find them, even if it's late second round. Some guys have brought up a great point where if the Knicks don't want an additional salary, they might prefer buying a second round draft pick rather than trading for a late first round pick. The difference being a first round pick has guaranteed money. A second round pick, you don't have to guarantee any money. You can waive the guy. You can sign them to an unguaranteed deal, or a smaller guarantee. Sorry, I think you can guarantee a second round pick 500,000. So that's something big. Do the Knicks want any extra salary on their books? With the Quickly extension coming in, all of that. And obviously we're going to have to trade somebody to get a late first round pick, whether it be Obi, whether it be someone else. We might have to, to pull off a trade for that, which is messy. So I could see the Knicks just buying maybe a couple of late second round picks, early second round picks, or maybe trading some of these protected picks we have next year or the year after for this year. Maybe we consolidate and we say, you know what, to hell with this. That Milwaukee pick in 2 years or 1 year that may not convey, the Detroit's pick, and of course the Washington pick. We might just be sick of the uncertainty. You know what, guys? Indiana have 2 of these guys, and we'll take on the 26th selection this year. That's something to look out for also, because the Knicks have a roster situation where we could identify a guy that fits what we need. We can scout specifically the skill sets they have. What do we need, guys? We need a 6'9" wing defender that can spot up, can shoot a bit. Or we need a 6'6" guy that can dribble well, create a shot, can hit difficult shots, like a Cam Thomas, guys like that can hit difficult shots. You need that. Relieve ball handling duties from Jalen Brunson. You know, there's guys out there. TJ McConnell's, Cam Payne's, Peyton Pritchard is a dude who I saw just requested or is on the verge of requesting a trade. Peyton Pritchard, those kind of dudes. So yeah, if we are adding complementary pieces, guys, we know that the Knicks, based on the roster we have, there's clear spots that we can fit in, man. Like Kerry says, salute. We need the 3-point shooting wing who plays D also. Yep, 100%. Those guys aren't easy to find. They're different, tricky. Everyone looking out for those. The Knicks did want Trey Murphy. We were unable to trade up. We identify some of these guys. We just can't get it done. Obviously there's the situation with RJ coming back in his fifth. He's going to be his fifth year in the league. Big things for RJ coming up, but he's still not that 6'8", 6'9" wing, that can shoot over the defense. Brandon Ingram, for me, Paul George, Brandon Ingram type archetype. Not only because they can hit shots, but they can dribble. They can create shots for themselves also. Yeah, Grady Dick is a good name, but I think he's going to go pretty high. With that, he's going to be in demand. The Heat find those guys with Duncan Robinson undrafted, Strauss undrafted also. And yet we really, really wanted Trey Murphy with that situation. Herb Jones was another great selection late in the second round. So, yeah, look out, man. This draft's got talent, and it's going to be in the eye of the beholder. We got one of the best in the business, Walt Perrin, which has me feeling good about this. And these guys are doing work. Walt Perrin's traveling overseas. Yeah, he's scouting guys. I know that for a fact. The Knicks scouting, guys in Europe all over the place. So, I know there's not many roster spots, but let's see. Now, putting aside all these blockbuster deals, because we wait with bated breath, but looking at the moves like the guys like Fournier, Derrick Rose, you could probably throw Obi in there as well. Like I said, Deuce McBride and Sims are going to have their options picked up. They're cheap value rotation pieces, so I don't see them going anywhere. But Derrick Rose, Fournier, what do you guys think happens with those roster spots? Because that does clear some things up. Now Fournier is probably salary filler with the one more year. Derrick Rose is an expiring salary, so that's going to come off the books. They're going to use some of that money to re-sign Josh Hart. But the $12 million mid-level exception is there for the Knicks also, which is music to my ears because that's nothing to sneeze at. 12 milli is going to get you a guy like a Dante DiVincenzo, which is exactly what we need. It's going to get you a guy maybe like Alec Burks, if that's the flavor you like. Some other guys out there, Seth Curry, some other shooters out there. Could we continue to scout the league? But $12 million is going to get you a guy who can play off the bench, can shoot some. More depth is good if Josh Hart gets injured. Another reason with Thibs, I spoke to Bill about, Thibs's willingness to fall in love and play his guys too much. He's got to be more open to utilize the tools that Leon gives. Like I get it. You want to save Josh Hart for the final 5 minutes of the game. I've got no problem with that. Got no problem with Josh Hart finishing the game out. But you don't got to play him 33 minutes. You don't got to play him 36 minutes. Just be creative. Yeah. Yeah. Fournier, Rose. Well, Rose is going to come off as a expiring. Fournier got one more year. Probably used as salary filler also. But Obi, I could also see. If you're Obi's agent, and I love Obi. But if you're his agent, you're doing him a disservice if you don't want if you're not trying to get Obi on another team. It's just straight facts. We already have Isaiah Roby, also, like Kerry says, and we got Jericho Sims also. And ideally, he doesn't quite fit. Like Bill said, he's not a 4 that we can play. Also, because we have Randle, he's not a 3 yet because he's the the shot creation and the handles ain't there yet either. So he's that tweener that doesn't fit as well as he would with Detroit and some of those places. I think Indiana, Houston, and like I said, Detroit. I think they're good landing spots for Obi. I want nothing but minutes for Obi. I want nothing but the best. He came experienced. New York City, his hometown. Got heard his name called out on draft night. Lived out a boyhood dream. But he's heading into his second contract now, and I just don't think it makes any sense. For Obi. You know, Now things could change if Randle is traded in a blockbuster, then that changes things. But yeah, Obi, solid role player. I think he had a solid playoffs, but the shooting is still up and down. He could be on the move. Luke Kaiser, Dante DiVincenzo should be a top target. Jeremy Grant are your top 2 guys. Yep. Yeah, solid upgrades, not stars, but great fits. Fit well, like Bill said. We are closer than we think. I'm not here trying to sell you that the New York Knicks have a championship roster right now, but we are closer than some people are talking about it because, like I said, I know regular season is different, but we won the season series against Denver. We won the season series against Boston. We won the season series against the Heat, against the Cavs. I think we won the season series against Philly, if I'm not wrong, or we split. The only team that still gives me any fear in the East is Milwaukee, and we don't know what's going to happen with Chris Middleton. We don't know what's going to happen with their new coach. It's going to be very interesting. The new coach, Nick Nurse, is it? I forget whom. There's so many coaching movements, but yeah, we just don't have anybody to guard Giannis. That's the only reason I fear Milwaukee. But against anyone else, we good. Like, there's a world where I could see the New York Knicks as the 2nd seed next season with minimal upgrades. Minimal. I'm talking, bringing a DiVincenzo, internal development from Grimes, from RJ, from everyone, a better year from Brunson and Randle. I could see the New York Knicks being the number 2 seed, number 3 seed. So again, regular season, but how does it fit in the playoff picture? Now DiVincenzo would solve a few things, shot making. I also think the Knicks didn't have a lot of luck. How much did that play a part? We don't know. But if Julius Randle is healthy, doesn't roll his ankle near the end of the season, if Emmanuel quickly, if his ankle, Bam Adebayo, didn't fall on his feet, mess things up. Quentin Grimes had an interrupted end of the year also. I honestly feel like, and we'll never know, but if Quickly played game 4, 5, or 6, we're probably looking at a game 7 at MSG. I think game 4 was fairly close, but game 6 was the one we missed. Extra shooting, ball handling. I don't think we let that 14-point lead slip with Emmanuel Quickly out there. Also, I know he wasn't playing great, but yep. So Grant, you don't feel like Grant's an option and that's going to be possible. Let's see what happens out in Portland. Clarkson, the real 6-man. It's going to be interesting to see what Utah do. But I tell you what, fam, I see a lot of movement in terms of teams trying to shed salary. Let's consider that because as the cap goes, the cap situation is changing. teams are gonna really look at some of their pieces now and say like, hey, look, can we sell this guy for some draft picks? Can we get off of this guy? Um, but but man, yeah, Bruce Brown was an amazing pickup, man. That's the kind of situations that everyone looks at now like, oh, how did they get that? But the same way we made the Josh Hart trade, everyone didn't expect it to work out as well as it did. But now, unfortunately, we're going to have to pay him a lot, man. We're going to have to pay Josh Hart, 18 milli now, which, I got mixed feelings about. I don't really think you can turn back now. We traded a first round pick for Hart. It's a done deal. And he's going to win us a hell of a lot of regular season games. So, you know, is the money justifiable? Again, in the playoffs, it depends again how you use him, because he's going to win you some playoff games also, but the shooting is not what we need. His shooting is not what we need. We need shooting, but I guess like IQ can solve a lot of that also. What I mean by that is there a closing lineup where it could be Brunson, quickly at the 2, Hard at the 3, whether RJ's sitting or RJ at the small ball 4, and Randle if Mitch is off the floor. So there is closing lineups where you can make sure there is enough shooting. I think still with Josh Hart, but either Mitch or RJ is probably going to be the one that's not finishing the game. But yeah, Quickly's kind of that guy that I think Tom Thibodeau is still going to trust to close games out. And if the Knicks do retain Quickly, I think the fact that Tom Thibodeau loves him some Emmanuel Quickly could be one of the biggest reasons why we might continue to see this IQ journey with the New York Knicks, even if it's just for a little bit longer and not forever, but for another year or so. I could still see Emmanuel Quickly staying just because he's very valuable to what Tom Thibodeau likes. He's a guard that rebounds great. He badly gives us the shooting we need and the perimeter defense as well. It's just a shame, again, fit. If Emmanuel Quickly was 6'5", he'd probably be the starting 2 next to Jalen Brunson. Let's keep it a buck. Yeah, I just think they love Emmanuel Quickly so much, and I do too. But yeah, the 6'3" situation, he's a point guard still, or that's his best position still. But yeah, who knows? We've all been shocked before. Maybe they do need to use Grimes in a larger deal for a superstar, and that allows a situation where Emmanuel Quickly can stay. Yeah, I always just keep bringing up the Thibs thing. I've asked, if you guys notice, I asked Howard Beck, John Schmelk, now Bill tonight, how much does Tom Thibodeau have an input in player salary? Because I don't think Thibs is going anywhere, and I think we heard recently, throughout the season, from Ian Begley on SNY. When Thibs was struggling, or the team was struggling, Leon Rose, it was reported by Ian that Leon had still a lot of faith, kind of like an undying loyalty to Tom Thibodeau. So, we've got Wes in the background. We've got Gerson Rosas now, who could be the GM, who's also another Thibs ally. So, Thibs' input in player personnel now, getting the Knicks to the second round, it could be something where Tom has extra, input into guys now. After the Cam Reddish experiment, it could be a situation where Tom has more sway. Could be like Leon, no, don't bother getting me another Fournier. Don't bother getting me another Cam. I'm not going to play them. And if you need further evidence, he benched Derrick Rose, a guy who was a Tom Thibodeau soldier, so to speak. Yeah, Dirty's talked about he's like of the fit between Quickly and Brunson a lot together at the end of the game. IQ, smart defender who can overcome that size. Yeah, the thing going for IQ is his strength. Definitely, he's got the physical profile that can D up. Definitely, we need that. It just when you're talking about any major upgrade, Emmanuel Quickly is that dude that doesn't fit in the starting picture, but has the most trade value from what other teams are going to be looking at from that perspective. So yeah, I think it's going to be fascinating. I wouldn't be surprised if IQ's a long-term piece, but I wouldn't be surprised if he's dealt this off season also. Um, his camp wants a big role for IQ, and so they should. You know, they're seeing what Tyrese Maxey's doing out in Philly, and also Obi's camp. Also, and that'd be a guy that I'd probably be less upset about being moved, just because I feel like the salary situation. But could I see IQ become a star in this league? I think he has potential. And Portland is another name. Let's say they're trying to upgrade around Dame and they trade Anthony Simons. Well, that opens up a starting backcourt partner with Lillard, with Quick. Also, I mentioned the Minnesota situation. How long can they continue to go with Mike Conley, who's going to be 36, 35, I think. They need extra speed. You're trying to play Cat and Rudy Gobert, very, very big. I could see a situation, funnily enough, in Utah. I know we couldn't get the Donovan Mitchell deal done, but would Danny Ainge would definitely have wanted an Emmanuel Quickly in that kind of deal. Could that allow them to trade the big salary of Clarkson? Also, but yeah, IQ's such a soldier, man. Yep, Anthony Simons is nice. Yeah, I know Simons is nice, but yeah, Portland may have to move him, with the third pick to get a superstar next to Dame. I think that's the most likely thing we're going to see. Talking about things that are likely, look out for a shake-up in Washington due to their contract situation and the new president, Michael Winger, who's got more autonomy. Look out for the situation in Toronto. No coach yet. Messiah is going to be a big player in this thing. Quite frankly, look out for Philly. I don't think people are talking about Philly enough. And what's happening out there in Philly, because it's a situation with James Harden, right, is going to be on the move. There's no doubt about that. I don't see Harden coming back. And what does that leave? Where does that leave them with Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey, Tobias Harris, expiring money? So, yeah, there's going to be a lot of situations out in Philly, I think, where they're going to try to make some moves. And we also know Daryl Morey does not sit on his hands at all. Yeah, Raptors are stuck. But yeah, if we do get Simons, Grimes gets no burn. So yeah, I don't think Simons is headed our way. But also, yeah, I think the situation with Barrett in the playoffs, I think that has given the front office a lot more confidence in RJ being a longer term building block. Second time in the playoffs, that he's going to be able to play well. Game 6 wasn't a good game, but Barrett stepped up. Mitch stepped up in the playoffs. We're at a loss trying to find guys that can step up in the playoffs. So if we do have a few, those are the guys you want to keep around. But then it comes down to, okay, like how much can they resist? If a star became available, that's the big question. Is this team going to run it back? I think they're very confident running it back, because I think, like I said, I could see a world where we're the second seed in the East with a full year of Josh Hart, a full year of Quentin Grimes starting, another year of a full year of Brunson, second time around. Chemistry is one thing. You know, the teams around the league have a lot of roster upheaval, and I think the Knicks are in a unique spot where they can come into next year and not have a lot of upheaval. So that could help them a lot. We add extra complementary pieces. Draft a shooter, sign a DiVincenzo with the mid level. Go into the playoffs healthy. Maybe you trade Obi for another bench shooter like a DAUGHTRY, and you have that. You bring in another backup 5, 4, and I think that's the most likely scenario. Aside from that, what's the second most likely scenario? I think is going to be a middling upgrade. I mean, another tier above that, which is a guy like possibly a Levine, possibly a OG Anunoby, a Kristaps Porzingis, DeAndre Ayton kind of move is the second most likely move. A move that's not going to cost you all your assets, but it's a move that's going to give the starting unit a much bigger upgrade. And then the third, obviously, is less likely. It's going to be your Embiids. It's going to be your Paul George, Damian Lillard, Bradley Beal, who I don't think is likely at all. But, Karl Anthony Towns probably even in that mold, just because it's just going to be such a big deal in terms of pieces, going back and forth. So, I mean, the front office is going to lean towards comfort, I think, less risk involved. They're going to be looking at their guys like Randle got us third team All NBA. They're going to be like, guys, Brunson was better than anyone projected. He can go even better next year. Hey guys, Quentin Grimes just had a taste of playoffs. He's just the new starting 2 guard. Let's see what he looks like. RJ Barrett's going to take a big leap. So yeah, I think now with Brunson, the front office has got that confidence now where they can tread carefully, but for how long? Certainly the East now is wide open. I keep making the point where if you're going to go all in, don't wait too long. I'll be okay running it one more year. Kind of see how much of this playoff run was sustainable. Can guys step up again? Can we finish with 53 wins, 54 wins, and get a better seed? And we do it all again. But I don't think we could continue to tread down this road too long. These assets and things that are going to come to a head at some point. And I think is Donovan Mitchell that dude who they might be okay? Look, we got that connection. We know he's kind of going to heavily look at us in another year or two. Let's just make this run now, save all our assets. Let's see what we can do. And then we know we've got a Donovan Mitchell kind of move up our back pocket. But yeah, we've got to continue to develop. And we've got to have dudes step up. Yep. What's good, Kenny Payne? KP, more like no. Yep. No cat, no KP. Thank me later, says Kerry. Yeah. Roby will give you a bit more than Obi, just no flashy dunks. Yeah, I think Isaiah Roby's going to be, he's going to stick around. He's going to stick around. And I'll be okay with us finally developing, and keeping some of these pieces that I mentioned that we don't keep around on the 2-way deals. I mean, that's another issue where we keep recycling these 2-way players, from Lucas Samanic to Kenny Wooten, Jared Harper. I kept mentioning them. Ferron Hunt. Every year it's a new 2-way player, but they never, we never develop them. They never become anything. Meanwhile, the Heat, have rotation pieces that are undrafted also. So, yeah, we've got to keep developing. But yeah, like I said, now I'm leaning more towards the Knicks bringing back the same core, unless something really crazy shakes right in the league and the price is right. But yeah, I just think it makes a lot of sense to make another run at it. Yeah, Luca Vildoza, man, there's so many, keep forgetting. Maurice Endor, if you want to go back further, fam, I got names for days. Um, but yeah, the Knicks are in a good position because the East is open. Um, the the full training camp with our new guys, Josh Hart, if he's brought back, which I expect him to. Emmanuel quickly could be re-signed, extended, or just run to the final year of his contract. Um, you know, Mitchell Robinson still young in this league. I don't think he's going to come in with a mid-range jump shot, but does he get a couple of post moves? A little small jump hook, something like that. Is still something that's going to help this team, and we can move forward with another backup point guard with versatility. Maybe Deuce McBride is still a situational. But yeah, we got the roster spot of Derrick Rose coming off the books, Evan Fournier's expiring salary also. So we are going to see some moves. It's not going to be like we're running it back completely. But, we're going to see a guy like a Alec Burks, DiVincenzo, um, to the lesser like, possibly a trade with Toronto with Gary Trent. I like a Seth Curry, Gary Trent, just not shot takers, shot makers. Guys that shoot an incredible clip, guys that if you leave wide open, they're automatic. Um, I'm not talking about guys shooting 37%. I'm talking about 42% shooters as well. Guys that are lights out. I like Gary Trent. I think he's gettable. Duarte could be that Dollar Tree, Dollar Tree kind of backup shooter that we need off the bench. He had a down year though, so yeah, he had an ankle injury he was dealing with. But yeah, the shooting's available. We're gonna get someone. We're gonna get some help, some shooting in. Yeah, Oubre, it's a possibility. 3 and D. Um, the one thing I will say with the Oubre situation, because he's wanted to come to the Knicks for a minute, but to the broader point, the league is looking at the Knicks differently now. The league looking at the Knicks like, okay, I'm not just going to the Knicks because it's MSG or it's New York City. I'm going to this destination because I can help them win now. They are playoff perennial in a position to be playoff perennial performers now. So second round, the East is open. There's going to be a lot of these role players that now look at the Knicks like, I could fit in and I could help get my value up. You know, Isaiah Hartenstein did get his value up with us. He got enough burn to justify his move. Emmanuel quickly has been drafted, come in and thrived, and he's set to earn a maximum contract now. To his credit, but the Knicks also put Emmanuel quickly in a position to get minutes, to play well, and earn that money. Unfortunately, the Obi Toppin situation hasn't been good, but yeah, these role players are looking at us different. George's Niang, Matisse Thybulle. I like Thybulle's D. I don't know about the shooting, but George's Niang, solid fit. Kerry Duarte is 6'5". Duarte, 6'5". I guess he could play 6'6", 6'5". I guess he could play some small forward, but not long term. I don't think he's that. I don't think he's a long term solution. His defense isn't great. He's not too strong. Yeah, Gary Trent's a Blue Devils guy. Yep. Yeah, I think they like Gary Trent. Yeah, Oubre. Kaiser's still on board with Cat, still better than Randle for all that his flaws. Yeah, I think it's somewhere in between with Cat. Like Cat, we saw the worst of Cat this year. He was injured, missed 50 games also. But I think the salary is the main issue for most people. 40 something, 50 mil. I think if Cat's on 25, 30 mil, I think some fans would be more open to Cat. I got to watch more Dante, but he should be a target. Absolutely. Yep. Should be a target. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if it's Alec Burks, shot well this year. Maybe we could get a deal done also with Bogdan with Detroit also. He knows the club, knows the surroundings. The club is familiar with what Alec Burks can do. And one thing I'm interested in seeing, is that, Alec Burks played decent in the playoffs 2 years ago. He nearly won us game one against ATL, and he helped us win game two against ATL. So he can shoot off the dribble, which is key. Chris Duarte is a name I would sign off on also. I think I'm ready to buy low on Chris Duarte. Yeah, a lot of people feel like his stock dropped, but Chris Duarte in a new market, new scenery, could benefit from a new club. Can handle the ball, is a microwave scorer, but with a bit of extra size, 6'5". He can get hot in a New York minute. Talking about giving us 14 points, 16 points off the bench with solid minutes. Also, and cheap. So Chris Duarte is in terms of contract, he's a year before Obi. So you've got 2 more years of cost control with Chris Duarte. He is an older rookie. He is 24, 25, the same kind of age as Obi, but he is a guy who has more cost control on the contract also. So that's another benefit for this club making that swing. I'm weary of dealing with Toronto because, talking about Gary Trent, I think if Masai Ujiri is going to decide to go the other route, not win, but try to retool or rebuild, he's going to try to get as many assets as possible. I think Gary Trent is going to be a guy who's probably going to fetch a first-round draft pick from somebody. Draft pick for a Gary Trent at this stage. Now, if they take one of these protected picks that are Washington's or Milwaukee's or something, by all means. Maybe if they even want 2 of them, but no unprotected picks. I'd rather save those for like an OG Anunoby guy, not a Gary Trent. We already have Quentin Grimes. We already have the money headache with Emmanuel Quickly right now. We already have RJ Barrett. That's another thing you got to consider. If we're bringing someone in, how many minutes are they taking from someone who we currently have, and is that going to be to someone's detriment? Because we need the runway clear. We made the 5th seed this year for a reason, and like I said, there's no reason next year the New York Knicks can't become the 3rd seed or the 2nd seed. For that matter, we know Tom Thibodeau pushes hell for leather in the regular season. That doesn't mean we're better than those teams below us. I'm just